Good morning, good evening, good night. NFT Live, Web3 Network, Tribox, Biggie Poppins, Gifted. I myself am Nifty Q. We are about to take you around the Web3 space and back, a full news
Ooh,
round
yeah.
trip, if you will.
Ooh,
I'm
yeah.
sitting here with my good friends again. Good to see everybody joining early as we are live on this Tuesday, 9 12, 2023. I almost said 24. I don't know what year it is. Guys, I'm excited to be sitting here. A lot of stuff that pretty much broke over the last 2 hours that I want to get into. Per usual, it feels like we have a lot of activity these days. Excited to talk all things Vitalik getting sim swapped, I guess.
All
Maybe
things
we'll get there.
Miladies.
A little bit of Miladies. But let's go around the try box here. Let's talk to Biggie Poppins and then Gifted fresh off the GM Web3 morning show. What's up, Biggie?
Dude, great weekend. Honestly, like nice and recuperating and refreshing. I was able to like stay at bay a little bit this time, so it was nice. I'm back full force. There's lots to talk about. Really cool art minting experiences coming up, and then Marfa down the line. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great half of this month.
Yeah, I just had to break the news to Biggie Poppins, Gifted. I did it.
Broke my heart, man.
It did break it.
Broke my heart.
It did break his heart. Just before we get to Biggie, Gifted. But we do have a update from Marfa that we'll get into in just a moment. But Gif, how's your Tuesday going, my brother? I'm sorry again that we couldn't make Marfa happen. It's unfortunate.
Next year, there's always next year. It's only going to get better and better. I'll make sure to solidify our presence there. Don't worry.
Well, I like that. So yes, please do that. I'm not convinced that I buy the narrative that it's going to be better from here. I think this is the best year to go because it's bear market vibes. It'll probably be a very tight knit group that solidifies. And Biggie's going to be in the inner circle, and then we're just going to be trying to cling on to your coattails, Biggie, and be cool like you.
Friends.
Yeah, so no, I'm heartbroken. We're not going to be making it to Marfa. I'd already been talking to like Jimena, getting excited, but next year maybe. And yeah, Biggie, we're excited to see all the cool things that you get up to out there. And hopefully you'll be reporting back live from Marfa, telling us how it all goes. But yeah, GM Web3 was great as always. And yes, we were digging in to hashtag Tech Tuesday on SIM swapping and some security measures and just trying to educate and be upstanding citizens as much as we can, trying not to be fools.
Some
Man,
wallet
when
hygiene
it happens to
comments.
Vitalik, it hits different, right? You're just like, God, like if he can get got, like what's the hope for anybody else? I mean, don't be disheartened, people. Like this is what it is. He's a high valued target, and whoever it was a sneaky, savvy SOB. But I think you guys do a great job. The little bit that I got to listen, I thought guys did great. It's always good to review personal hygiene, and you do need to look upon it like that, right? You got like your quarterly kind of like reviews, you got your like maybe monthlies and shit all the time. Just be checking up, like what attack vectors can I get? Can I close up? Can I make harder to get to? And how do I make myself less of a fucking target too, right? With the ENS hack, I'm talking about that one in particular, which was also not a good thing, tying like ENSs that are tied directly to your Twitter handles and to your main wallets, right?
All right, Marty's trying to get us spooked here. He's saying Ape Explorer just nuked to 19. Did you see that? I was almost shut down the stream, but I did go to the floor. I don't know.
You fell for it.
Yeah, I don't know where it nuked to 19 if it did, but it's sitting at 25.4. We can take a look at the broader market here in just a moment. We did have a long, I think an hour-long discussion pretty much on this Vitalik situation where he did get sim swapped. The actual details, how you could probably have better hygiene with your wallets and all the things that you're doing here in Web3, man. So other updates that we're going to get to in just a moment. MetaMask, thank you for putting out some type of update. I see you guys, ever since the K-Row hack, it's been a little bit more, on the update and development front for MetaMask. I don't know if that was the impetus for all of this, but it's nice to see. We'll get into that MetaMask update and how that can be used in your browser safely. FriendTech is consistently in the news. NounsDAO, Oni Force partnering with Rec League. So we have a Rec League basically opening. They're opening their doors to all gamers, or some that hold their majestic boxes. On the 14th, we got the update from Bored Ape Yacht Club. You see that there's a ton of stuff. So anyways, if you guys could leave a like here on the episode before we do get to all this beautiful news, we would appreciate it. I will share the tweet here in just a moment, or the post here in just a moment, as we just got started. So thank you guys for tuning in. Biggie, I'm gonna, while I'm doing this, and GiftEd, please hop in as well if you see any moments that we're going to miss. I didn't ask you there because I know it's gonna hurt
Milady,
your heart, but I was gonna talk.
Thing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about this glitch piece, actually. This post here about Marfa, if it did, if anything stands out. I know it's tough to see.
Man, just the fact that there's a poster and a schedule like stands out. Last year there was none of that. Like, I think there was like maybe a Twitter post like, we're gonna be hanging out here, then there's like 2 events, and everything else is just kind of roaming around and hanging out, right? And like this time it's way more structured. There's a lot more presence from different galleries. It's really cool to see, aside from Glitch, which is Derek Edwards' like gallery, which they expanded with like a really cool patio for this year, the outdoor patio, which I'm looking forward to. You see gallery there, you see Prohibition there, and obviously Art Blocks, which is the big daddy of them all. Like, it's going to be a super packed weekend. Like, we're already seeing like Jimena Buenavida is going to be like showcasing one of her latest artworks there. You have Grant Reverend Young also doing like a show. There's really cool artists, and there's going to be some live mints, dinners, get-togethers, gatherings. It's going to be an all-around good time. So I'm I'm trying to maintain calm, because it's still a couple of days from now, and like I'm that type of person that if I start getting amped right now, by the time this thing happens, like I really will be tired. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
See,
so excited. So excited for you.
Yeah.
No, this looks amazing.
Yeah, it's tough to see on the screen. I know GiftEd, but there's like bright moments. There's Squiggle DAO. You were mentioning talking to Jimena as well, who is extremely excited. So yeah, we don't have to stay on this too much longer for GiftEd's sanity and mine. To be honest, I was
even Bright Moments is going to be there, which is really cool. Talking about their next experience in Buenos Aires with like Def Beef, I think is the biggest, craziest, coolest mint making waves over there. Like, I mean, talk about just pushing the envelope, man. Like that one, dude, like I wish there was like some teleport machine or something. I would go there in a heartbeat. Like, I think that's just, I don't know. He's really, to me, up there with like Snowfro and Mapan and all these guys. And like he's like one of those guys that's like, just like he really does like crosses over the physical, like just gritty artwork, like the dirty stuff that nobody ever wants to showcase and such. Like, he just goes there and like he like yanks it out and like puts it on blockchain. I think it's the coolest artist around. It's gonna be cool, man.
I can't wait to not experience it. Yeah, again, Biggie, you're gonna have a good time there, man. I'm definitely excited to get your on the ground updates. We'll hopefully have some coming to the community as well. Maybe we can share it as you're there. All right, I do want to get to a couple of the breaking news pieces. GIF as well, though, did put out a rehash yesterday. This is via the Web3 X profile. We take all the stories that we talk about daily. We're here for about 3 to 4 hours sometimes, just kind of curating the different stories from around Web3. We throw them into the rehash for your viewing pleasure, and we're doing that every single day. So if y'all can give that some love, we'd appreciate that very much. So let's transition here, GIF. You did put out this rehash. You did kind of get the stories together. Anything that hit over the last 24 hours? I know you just mentioned another breaking news piece with a off-mentioned PFP community there.
Well, I thought the Miladys thing is just kind of funny and interesting, and we're talking about Coinbase leaving, or basically kind of getting kicked out, but leaving India, shutting down operations in India. That's a new one that dropped since the rehash. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in there that's like brand new. I think this Oniforce Rec League Animoca Brands thing is interesting. Yeah, those are some of the current breaking news pieces.
Yeah, let's hit on this then. The Oniforce piece was breaking news. So before we get to the Vitalik Sim Swap piece that is kind of making its rounds on crypto Twitter and NFT Twitter or X, Oniforce put out this post today, literally an hour ago, saying the journey is about to begin. We're excited to announce that Animoca Brands and Rec League HQ are the official sponsors for our Oni Point System Season 1. Holders participating in off-chain point systems stand to win over 200 Gs in rewards throughout the season. Stay tuned for the official Season 1 launch date announcement. You can see, so they put out a teaser that had the Rec League logo here on a poster that was this is basically the Oni Force universe here that you can see behind. It's very like cyberpunk city. I could pull that up, but GIF, what are your thoughts here on the Oniforce Rec League Animoca Brands partnership, man?
Sorry, I was getting in a little bit of breakfast. So I'm so they mentioned there that they have this whole like Season 1. There's some kind of season structure for rewarding Oniforce holders. They've been working on different types of ways to involve the community and reward engagement. One of them is, having your PFP on your X profile, which is something that we've talked about how important that is, especially with the friction that's now introduced with actually updating and changing your PFPs to try and get people to switch is actually a big thing and not easy. So they're just figuring out a lot of different ways to gamify the community experience and provide rewards back. They mentioned that there's $200,000 up for grabs for the Oniforce community for participating in this Season 1. So I'm not sure if like Rec League and Animoca they're going to be like sort of contributing funds and then cross promoting. Probably some of that maybe, but then is there going to actually be any sort of Oniforce components within Rec League and other Animoca games? That's potentially a cool thing, right? Like we've seen with the Bored Ape partnership with Rec League that there are actual integrations and tie-ins into the gameplay experience. So that's what I'm hoping that they figure out is some cool in-game enhancements and rewards for Oniforce holders as well.
So the off-chain points program, again, is going to be for, I believe right now, it's literally just for holding your PFP as an Oniforce. Like that's the majority of the point system right now. It says reward points tied to wallets, check PFP match every 12 hours. So I think the only way you can earn points right now is if you are an Oni PFP there on X. So one of us on this stage is getting after it on the Oniforce point system. So we'll see what that amounts to. I'll of course be following that quickly. Rec League is coming out on the 14th. I'm gonna have to buy a Majestic box. I thought that we might have the claim for Bored Apes and all that stuff prior to the game coming out. Obviously, Rec League is this very much hyped fighter game. We haven't had many fighter games in the NFT space up to this point in Web3 space, but you can see on the screen there. That's an example of what we will be getting. Each mech is unique. You're going to be able to get a mech from a Majestic box. So Coda holders were all claiming those about 2 weeks ago. You can see different aspects of armor and things like this. I think we've touched on Rec League. I mean, if you guys have any thoughts on the game itself, again, I think that the mint potentially could have been better. We were covering all that. My topic that I was kind of leaning into here was that the fact that Bored Ape was launching Heavy Metal Forge on the same day. So we got an announcement from Yuga Labs and Bored Ape Yacht Club that the Forge is opening. Let me make sure I get it. The Forge was ready for exploration on Thursday, September 14th. Forge on heavies. Why did they do this on the same day? That's my biggest announcement. So Rec League and the Forge come out on the exact same day. These are games affiliated with the same companies.
Yeah, it's an interesting point about it too, is the Animoca connection. I definitely think that Yuga has to be sweating a little bit about all these other games that are coming out actually looking pretty good and getting traction right now, because the Forge retention, I imagine, is not very good. I myself have kind of cycled out. I went in hard initially and then just fell off. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if they're purposefully doing it the same day as Rec League as much as they're probably just trying to get it out as soon as they can because they're already behind schedule, right? So maybe to your point, it could have been smarter since they are like affiliated with Rec League too to like not do it the same day. Maybe they could have waited another day or two. But I think right now, because they're behind schedule, they already pushed back the Rift. They just are trying to get it out as soon as they actually can.
Yeah, I'll be watching the floors here for the Majestic boxes because a bunch of Bored Apes and Mutant Apes aren't getting their boxes. Everybody wants to participate when this game goes live.
It's been around 0.04. It's been sitting, like I bought in a week, like 2 weeks ago at around that price. So, which is, again, it's much more affordable than if you minted. That was the mistake that they made, is they didn't lock the secondary or figure out a way, you know, given how slow the progress of the mint was, they didn't lock it or find ways to keep people from flooring them. It's so ridiculous. It's one of the things that I will never understand, that I hate about the space, is people that mint and then immediately floor it for less than the mint price.
They're looking for rares, maybe. So, okay, I want to bring Biggie Poppins in here as well, because Biggie, we've been talking about Parallel. You've been getting kind of interested. What's the game that's going to bring you in? Like, what style of game is going to bring you into having these convos?
Man, it's funny you mentioned that, because I've been like, literally, it's one of the things that I was thinking about in the previous space, on the Web3 show, is like how everybody's got their own game they're playing, right? You're doing Parallel and Oniforce. I'm like, you're asking me like what game I'm playing, like I'm looking to play for right now, is Mintify. I sent you the link here in the private chat. You can show it. Like I mentioned it earlier, right? It's kind of like, it's another trading platform. It's like Blur. It's incentivized. I think they're doing great things, and this one is like earning XP points for opportunities to get into like different raffles with different assets. I think they got like a couple of D-Gods and Pudgies and different stuff that you're doing there. But I mean, that's just the reward aspect of it. Obviously, there's a token, which you can postulate whether it will or won't have value. I have a lot of other friends that are really going crazy on friend tech, right? And like, that's one thing that I like immediately knew was not for me, right? Like I've played that game before in Big Cloud. I'm happy for the people that are making money in it. But no, I don't. Like, it's never been a good experience for me. I'm happy to sit that one out, right? Like, even if it does become something, I can jump back in, and yeah, maybe I won't have the gains of the people that were right there at the ground floor. Still better than the others that we are supposedly going to be onboarded into this, right? That still need to figure it out. I think you need to pick like the style of games that you like. I think for me, Parallel, going back to your question, long-winded way of getting back to it, is like, so right now you guys are talking about Oniforce too, which I have been keeping an eye on, and every now and then I'm like, I really just, I like the art. That's all. I
Water's warm
with much of the other things, right? But with Parallel, I do enjoy playing the card games every now and then the art is really cool. Like I really dig the art, and seeing other people play and have fun with it is exactly the type of thing that for me just, it rings the dinner bell for me, right? Like same when I went with Based Heads, right? Like they came out with that Marquis Brownlee like Fortnite studio, and I'm immediately like, okay, I need to play this. Like this looks cool. Like I want to see what other maps are going to start coming out with and stuff like that. But just the very fact that I'm starting to feel that pull, that gravitational pull of like, okay, like you cannot just be a passive observer. You need to play, you need to have fun. Man, I mean, that's cool, right? Like I don't know if it's the type of thing that I would put all my chips into. I know other people are, because they dedicate the time to really learning it and knowing it. But for me, having skin in the game, like I always said, is like the best way to get real life experience, exposure into stuff. And yeah, Parallel, Based Heads, those guys are doing it. So
I'm gonna drop that Mintify link in chat. So while we're playing video games here, just doing kid things, Biggie's playing the game of making money. That's basically what's happening here on Mintify, because it's basically a reward system for what, potentially like sharing alpha and getting into these different mints.
So no, like, so they're trying to iterate on the whole Blur token incentivized model, I believe. And so basically there's two things, right? Like you have the token, which itself will eventually have value. They're playing it very cautiously, very much like Proof with Talons, where it doesn't have any functionality. You just accumulate points the more you do your trades with them, the more keys that you stake with them from the keys that we talked about a couple of months ago, a month and a half ago. But then they also have a seasons component, which generates tokens, let's say. And those tokens, at the end of the season, they're worthless. Otherwise, like you get to spend them in their market. And the marketplace basically is like a big raffle market. So they bought a whole bunch of like popular assets like Pudgy Penguins and D-Gods and Moonbirds and what have you. And so you get to go and spend those tokens that you accumulated in that season to get into all these different raffles and have an opportunity to win like a cool prize. So it's interesting. It's a way kind of like of delaying the gratification of the main thing, which is the token and the release of it and how much it's going to be worth, right? In the meantime,
it's hitting you dopamine
little raffles
before you actually get the dope. I see it never stops. Okay, all right, I like that link. If you could potentially reach out to Mintify, or we could reach out to Mintify too, I'd love to have them on the show, whether that be the morning show over there on X or here on NFT Live. We could maybe set that up. All right, guys, we see you in chat. It's a little bit late for me to get to chat, honestly, but I see all of y'all. We appreciate you joining us.
Too late to get to the chat, Q.
Well, I should have gotten to it 10 minutes ago is what I'm saying. So sorry about waiting till this moment to get to our beautiful chatters. If you're listening on or watching there on X, if you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching afterwards, we appreciate y'all too and the love that y'all give us on every episode. I've been seeing a ton of people commenting post-episode as well there on YouTube. So thank you guys for tuning in each week while we go live here every day pretty much at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, Gif, hit him with the disclaimer, man, and then we can get into we should definitely do that.
After we talked about tokens and all that other shit, right?
Yeah. Look, if you've been here before, you're probably like, oh God, here we go again. But this is key. It's so important for us to remind everybody out there, whether you're catching us live here on the YouTube or you're on Twitch or you're on Twitter or you're catching it later, it doesn't matter. Everybody needs to know that clearly we are not financial advisors. Nothing we talk about at any point, even if we're joking around, even if like we might be saying it with like a smirk or like a wink, it's not financial advice, fam. We're not financial advisors. All this info is public. It's public domain. Always do your own research. These are just our opinions as we just discover and discuss cool shit on the internet. And that's it.
All right. We are going to get to some things that we have discovered. I think Biggie Poppins is having his eye on a mint. Whether that's available to the public, I need to figure out. But I do. Yeah, he shook his head no there. So cool. we're still going to get info there. All right. DP saying, yo, Nox Darkness, OVOT, Prodigy, OVOT. When is DP going to guest star on an episode of Web3? Let's make it happen, man.
Yeah. Why not?
We're here. It's as simple as dropping a link. We hit. I think we hit Kagion while he's like on the toilet and he's like, let's go. I'll be there in 5 seconds. Like you guys can jump on whenever you like. We always, if we don't have already a quad box, you guys can hop in when you would.
BYOT, bring your own toilet.
Marty McFly saying Biggie for Prez 2024. What else do we have? Prodigy saying, I wish Q was as good at League as he is at keeping this show on the rails. I guess I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's also Prodigy's
a little bit better than GM Web3. Hold on.
Oh, hey, Prodigy's birthday.
To control.
Prodigy's birthday is coming up. Big 3-0.
He can't be. You can't have an early birthday here on the channel. I'm not doing that. You don't get two birthdays.
Well, we're definitely not going to sing to you, so I'll break your heart with that one. But happy early birthday. And 30 years, man. You're still young.
Wow.
Still young. You still got it, man. Enjoy it while you can. These are your last days in your 20s. I hope you're going to do something freaking wild over the next 2 days.
All right. DP is saying, I'm with it. I'll hit you in the DM queue. All right. I appreciate that. My DMs will be waiting. Just in case, saying PSA from Round Trip GIF. I don't know what PSA of the disclaimer. Got it. Felipe is saying, ready to hear all your financial advices, fam. Well, we're not really giving it, so you might be holding your breath for a little while.
Go somewhere else. Leave.
We're not going to jump into too many gaming pieces today, but I did have this. So Gifted is now just getting into the founders of Parallel. This man has pinged the founders multiple times. He's caring for the Shroud here, saying that they should be a little bit more buffed. And we got a response, I believe, from Mr. Gone.
Mr. Gone, I was shitting on Shroud more and how upset I am at the patch. And he was like commenting and liking. So yes, the founders are seeing my angst. But I was gonna say, to Biggie's point, I do see you, Biggie, as somebody who, if you got your beak wet on Parallel, you would probably get really into it because it's got the art, it's got the lore, it's got really strong community, people that are like really passionate about it. It has, obviously cool tokenomics and a lot of different parts and collectibles that you can like try and, get into in game. So I do feel like there's some level of danger here for you, Biggie, that if you got into it, I feel like you'd get into it, and this would become probably a new thing for you. So I think you'd like it if you did want to get into it.
Biggie, do me a favor. Yeah. If you do join, don't Karen on X like my buddy.
Why, dude? I am no simp for anything. Even a game that I'm obsessed with and into right now, I am not going to simp when they are doing something that I disagree with. This patch, look, here's my current.
Mr. Gon should have said, Florida, get the fuck out.
Yeah. my current conundrum is this. I decided, just like you are going through an interesting situation with Earthen right now, I decided that Shroud was going to be my main. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start collecting the NFTs. I don't have a bunch of other cards that I can like scrap. And like, I don't have a bunch of liquidity to build other decks right now. And so I'm kind of more or less stuck right now, focused on Shroud. And they're just getting eviscerated. I am now like well below rank 1,000. I was at rank 350 just a couple days ago. Like globally 350th in the world playing this game. I've now dropped way below 1,000. That's how bad it is, because now it's Augencore, Cathari is absolutely unplayable, and the Marcos are still pretty OP. Yeah, so Cathari is so bad. They got buffed in this recent patch, and it's so bad that within the first 5 moves, they have an entire stacked board of like over 10 clones, like 12 clones on the board. I have 0 cards, and they've got over 20 damage, and there's no counter for that because I can't even do a demolecularize until I'm into like turn 8 or 9. There's literally no counter. So there's no, like, it's unplayable. So this is why I'm literally like, okay, so either I have to wait for another patch, or I now have to figure out literally how am I going to invest into a whole other deck and direction now. And it just sucks because I want to be a Shroud main. I want to build out my Shroud and get good with them, but I can't even play him right now. It's not fun. It's not when it's this unplayable. It's not fun.
All of that sounds so cool, and I want to be a part of it because I don't fucking understand everything. But I know now that being a Shroud is cool, and I want a Shroud.
This is Biggie.
It's not cool right now. It's not cool right now.
This is a live look. I think this is a live look at Gifted yesterday streaming over here, and he was in his studio streaming the game. Live look here.
Nice. How did it even make it in live? How sweet, guys. They're hot fixing it. Cool. That's awesome and all. How did it even make it to live servers? How?
This is me.
How did they think that was okay to even put it in the game? I'm so sick of this fucking company. We're trash!
Mr. Goner, you paying
Fix
attention?
the game!
Literally, I was
playing the shit!
like, I was actually so
shit.
triggered that I was yelling at my game yesterday like this for sure. I was so triggered trying to play Shroud against Cathari. That's me for sure.
And I'm fucking addicted! So I can't quit!
Well, but this is why I'm going to go on. I'm going to go on X. I'm going to tell them how I feel. I'm going to try and be as respectful as I can be while letting them know.
My man
hey,
said, if you don't fix it, I'm leaving. That was.
I didn't say it like that.
Hold on.
Say it like that.
Okay. Sheesh. Hold on. I got receipts. All right. Giff did get up to top 300. I will give him that. That is a accomplishment in and of itself, but he'll have to find some longevity here, man. On this.
It didn't last.
Yeah.
Did not last.
All right, guys, if you can get to any of the comments while I get to the next story, let me know. That would be much appreciated.
I was asking, like Marty asked here, like how many people are playing parallel right now? Obviously, it's more than 1,000, Marty. But it's
at least a few thousand.
No?
At least a few thousand, because I know it's growing because of how the rankings change. Because I think I'm still sitting at gold rank and I'm over rank 1,000. Previously, just a couple days ago, when I dropped below like rank 600 or 700, I was in silver, which means that like there's more.
Read that out loud and tell me that's not gifted.
It's honest. I ain't no simp, Q. What do you want from me? I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna keep it 100. We keep it a century around here, fam. That's what we do. All right. I'm trying to get them to fix it. I want them to repatch.
All right, quick note, because we touched on Oniforce earlier, so I'm just going to drop this. Starlordy is going to be in a Spaces with Tom Bilyeu. So the reclamation arc, or the reclamation arc, I don't know, why did I say it that way first time, but the arc is
redemption
for Tom Bilyeu.
Redemption arc?
No, reclamation arc's fine.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a synonym.
Why? So why are they doing this?
Partnership. It says join Tom Bilyeu on September 14th for the Project Kaizen Oniforce Spaces. You don't want to miss this. Biggie, we're just trying to make friends out here, man. You can't jump into space.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's not like the best person to be hanging out with in public right now, right? Like, hey, yo, the leper of the fucking crypto world right now.
I actually kind of agreed with that. Like my initial reaction was
this motherfucker. Like, why?
Why does Oniforce have to be the ones to be his redemption? That was kind of my initial thought too. But
that's what it takes.
But I love Biggie just being like, why are we doing this? They're like, partnership.
Well, I'm not on Oni's team. What am I looking for? I'm already concerned with the way we're talking about this reward system. Vicky, did you hear?
Cancel that.
Did you hear us talking about Starlordy on the episode today?
To get COVID all of a sudden. Cancel that shit now.
Oh my God.
All right, I'm moving on. I see you guys in chat. Appreciate you commenting. Probably saying bro was malding. That's my favorite clip. Justin Casey, every game isn't for everyone. Gift. Maybe there's another game for you, bud. Farmville. Maybe Zed Run. We are on one today. All right,
that's below the belt.
This is we said we were going to get to Vitalik. We will get to Vitalik here in just a moment, but we've talked about DAOs on this channel for a while. I didn't mention Moloch DAO on the GM Web3 Morning Show, but they're like one of the grandfathers. Like they would be on the Mount Rushmore of DAOs, and they implemented and coined this word rage quit, which is the ability to turn in your governance tokens, whether they be, I think they were just tokens at the time, fungible, but not NFTs then. But now you have obviously DAO membership attested to NFTs. You can vote, you can do all these different things. And so what's happening now with the NounsDAO ecosystem is another implementation of this rage quit. So they've basically made a proposal that says, hey, we're going to do this Nouns fork. People that aren't happy with the situation in the DAO can actually, kind of go into the platform and swap out their nouns for 35 ETH, which is basically, I think we were schooled on it this morning, right, Gif? It's basically taking the amount of nouns out in the world, if you will, in the metaverse, and dividing that by the amount of ETH in the treasury. And it spits out
proportional amount per noun.
Well, they determined a fair market value based upon the books, looking at the total treasury to total noun ratio. That's it. So that's why, yeah, because it was a good question. It was like, how did you get to this 35 ETH number when the floor is currently at like 20 ETH or something? And so, yeah, they're calling this the fair market value, and it's based upon the books, right? And that simple ratio of nouns to treasury value, which I don't know. That to me is an interesting choice in of itself, right? Because to say that the floor is the same thing as the treasury, like you're kind of, or saying that like the current actual market versus like the treasury, like that those are the same. I don't know. I don't know. I'm confused by that move too. I see that there's a simple logic there. I'm just not convinced that that's the right logic, because it sets an interesting precedent.
And we talk about NounsDAO on the channel all the time as a DAO that's really pushing their exposure of their brand. You see the noggles everywhere. Like they have a ton in the treasury. They have a business model.
The idea there is that like this is what the average value of membership in the DAO costs, and yet you can buy in, right? Like, yeah, because you can buy in cheaper,
substantially more. I think the whole point of contention was that like nouns right now are not being valued the same as they were initially, right? And so the people that are coming in and buying up these nouns now are like getting in a better entry point, but it's diluting the worth of the majority of the people that have been doing a lot of the work and got in earlier, right? And that's just the nature of the market itself right now, right? And what people are valuing these things for. And so from what I understand, yeah, they're forking and some people are rage quitting. And then at the other end of the spectrum, there's people sweeping the hell out of those too, right?
Yeah.
From what I understand. So I think it just comes down to the question is like, how much faith do you have again in this project long term, and why did you get into it in the first place, right? Like if you're one of those guys that put in 90 some ETH, like one of the first nouns, and you're rage quitting now, selling your noun for 35 because, you know, bear market, I don't know, to me it's just a little bit like, so you didn't think this through, right? So, like long term, right? Like this is a moment that I get it absolutely sucks, but I don't know.
I always feel bad for the folks that are watching and listening to us and have no idea what's actually happening. Then we immediately are like go into it. So I'm sorry for not laying the foundation a little bit better as the host, but essentially what people are able to do, at least when this proposal came live or was being like initially proposed and it went live, people were able to, where nouns was at 25 ETH at the time, they were locking in their price of 35 ETH. Literally a 10 to 15 ETH range, I believe people were saying, hey, you know, this is a cool community. This is, you know, awesome. Nouns is awesome. But I'm going to lock in that 15 ETH trade. Since then, we've seen nouns go up to a price of about 35.6. So that's where we're sitting today. 40% of the holders in nouns, or 40% of the nouns, are quitting the DAO and claiming a refund. So that's kind of laying the foundation. I wanted to give a little bit more context for those folks that don't know what's going on.
Symbiotech came through the show and provided more insight because he's deep into the nouns ecosystem. And he said that it's roughly like, I think he said 350, right? So just over 40% so far. And that's about 350 people that are opting. And he said that they expect it to probably end up being closer to 50%.
And there's a problem with a lot of DAOs, not just the NounsDAO. Obviously, this one's one of the more prominent ones, but many times they hit like, you know, big hurdles, especially when it comes to governance and treasury management, right? Especially if you're still like onboarding new people into the DAO. Like, I think, you know, I've had personal experience in this myself and have had to rage quit some of them, and I've been rug pulled by others. It's just part of the game, right, of these decentralized autonomous organizations, as they're known. But I do think when you go into a DAO, it's not the exact same thing, as going into an NFT or into a particular token. I mean, it is liquid, but it is bound by a social contract and a couple of other caveats that you better be mindful of when you join, because if not, they can cause a lot of stress and conflict within the ranks. And so, yeah, that's why DAOs are not easy to manage. But I do think they will, I do believe that they long term they will work out. It's just a matter of like playing with them a little more and like laying out certain like law books, let's just say, of how certain things usually work best. And I think there's great examples of them out there, Moloch DAO being one of the forerunners.
I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm going to drop this link in chat. If you're interested in DAOs and what the whole concept is, like getting back to first principles, Moloch was a part of that. Essentially what they did, they had a certain amount of money and they were using Moloch DAO to fund initiatives to push development on ETH. This was when NFTs didn't exist. This was when DeFi barely existed. And so you had a bunch of ICOs that, made a bunch of promises that didn't actually have any product. And so when a company like Moloch DAO came out, or a DAO like Moloch came around in 2019, they were essentially saying, hey, we're going to take this $1 million or $2 million and via governance, we're going to fund different initiatives on the Ethereum blockchain. That's first principle.
And with no like reward mechanism or interest in financial gain initially, right? Like, because eventually them, like the guys that formed Moloch DAO eventually turned it into Metacartel Ventures, which is another Metacartel DAO, which was an investment DAO for profit right afterwards. But yeah, I mean, some of the people that form part of this DAO are really well known and have launched really cool projects. Like it's one of those OGs in the space, like you said, Q. I'm very fond of them, and they're a very prominent presence in NFT Denver. Oh, not in ETH Denver, sorry. And they had MetaCon, which was an even cooler gathering, like small community, right after ETH Denver. But it's for builders, and it's for people that are like that really believe in this tech, right? But a lot can be learned from these people too.
So, Gif, I want to open this up to you as well and get your answers on whether you think DAOs can be successful long term, because the overwhelming majority have not done well. I think the governance tokens, I could have a whole rampage on myself on the LARP that existed about you buy tokens for this ecosystem to vote on different things. I think for the largest ones, that was a very LARPy narrative that they raised millions on and didn't do anything with. But Gif, what's your take here on DAOs?
So I am surprisingly far from a DAO expert. Obviously, we talk about it and we cover it quite a bit. And from what I've seen, they still have just a lot to figure out to get them to a more sustainable place. And I am in the camp of believing that you have to have some mix of central authority. Like if you have no centralized leadership, that seems to be where a lot of the conflict and confusion comes from. So I do think that even a DAO that's goal is decentralized governance and democracy, if you don't ultimately have some leaders that are pushing things through and have some kind of vision or are just like making sure that things are moving forward, then I think it falls apart much quicker. But the other thing is, I think part of the experimentational phase that we're in right now is figuring out where are the proper use cases and scenarios where DAOs make sense. Because like we were talking about on GM Web3, just like a lot of people early on tried to just make everything NFTs, just slap NFTs onto anything. And we realized very quickly that not everything needs to be or should be an NFT, I think not everything needs to be or should be a DAO. I think there's going to be particular use cases and scenarios where DAOs start to shine and make more sense than for others.
And I think a clear like rule of thumb that we can all agree with right now at this moment doesn't mean it can't expand later, but it's like a small group of people. Like you cannot, like there is a cap into the amount of members that you can put into a DAO and have it like mosey along, you know, effortlessly. The more people you add into the equation, the harder it is to govern, to get things done. Communication gets frazzed if you don't have somebody really managing it. So, and I think like other people are coming at it from a different, you know, perspective, right? Like you see people, I mean, I think what Sam Spratt is doing with Skulls of Lucy, it's not a DAO, but he's definitely curating a community, right? Like there's no treasury as of yet. A better example would be somebody like Basic. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Basic, the AI artist, anonymous AI artist, came out of Proof, out of the blue. He's done phenomenally well, but he basically tied his art pieces to an ETH fund, right? And you're able to burn that art piece at any moment for your proportional amount of whatever that ETH, and that ETH is staked, by the way. It's a long position. I don't know, a perp or something of the sort. So he's doing something very interesting in that regard, right? So where he basically curated his community of holders, and they have an actual stake, a financial stake in the value of that artwork, and can rage quit at any time by burning the artwork, right? But he's got a Discord, he's got a very strong group of fans, and he's doing some really interesting stuff. Down the line, we'll see what it turns into. But key freaking point again, very small supply, very small community, thoughtfully built out slowly.
It's almost
that was
like
a mistake early DAOs made, where it was open to everybody.
Yeah, it's almost like there needs to be some kind of Dunbar's number as a rule of thumb, or maybe we coin it as Dunbar's number, which is if you're not familiar with Dunbar's number, it's just basically a number that was through research understood that this is sort of the threshold for familial social units to kind of thrive and be particularly well organized and not sort of devolve into just utter chaos. And once what tends to happen is that, you know, we evolutionarily speaking, as humans and animals, we've thrived in these small communities together. But once you get to a certain point, you can't manage the relationships properly. And no longer, like, the maths doesn't math properly within just the dynamics of how we work. And so things start to click off and break off into subunits. People start forming their own hierarchies within within that hierarchy, and it doesn't work beyond a certain number. And so maybe DAOs function similarly, where there's a certain number that, like, hey, they can work really well, but then once you get over like 100 people or 200 people, it starts to kind of just fall apart.
I bet there definitely, and I'm going to use the term literature. I guarantee there's literature on that topic. The DAOs by far have some of the most interesting individuals building those products. Like those are some of the smartest people in the Web3 space, the ones that are involved in, you know, DAO creation and working on trying to make those a little bit better and more usable and all those things. So yeah, I guarantee there's something out there that says, hey, you know, we went over 100 and we kind of fell off a cliff or something like that. So anyways, that's it for the NounsDAO. We do have to move on here in just a moment. Wanted to give another shout out here to the chat. Marty McFly, Justin Casey, Felipe saying nice financial advice. Gives on the in the crosshairs today, man. Justin Casey saying preach gift, say it, win gift out. No, is there any frapping in gift
out? I like it.
First of all, DP's always flaming me. That's just another day. I don't know what it is. DP's got some beef, so I'm excited to get him on the show so we can explore. Yeah, look at my eye here and explore why he's always got to be riding me in the chat. Yeah, GiftDAO is to join GiftDAO, you have to pick up one of my keys on FriendTech, and then you're in. That's basically it. And you get all the benefits of Gifted Season 1, which just the rewards keep piling up. We're just adding more and more. But no, none of this is financial advice, and you know that.
All right, can DAOs work long term? 66% of y'all said yes. So we have some positives here in chat. Justin Case saying agreed with Biggie on that. And yeah, I think Marty McFly was giving some Squiggle DAO love. But you know what we like to give love here to on the channel is trailers. And we had a pretty big announcement from one of the biggest wallets in the space, MetaMask. So I'm going to do my best to put on a positive face.
Can we, because I know this trailer is going to be fucking corporate bland, not very fun. Can we also follow it up with the like exact opposite, which is the like childlike fantasy of Mochaverse trailer? Can we do
a little bit of that
back-to-back trailer action here?
That's a lot to ask from a technical standpoint. So I can talk about Mocha next. Okay. Can we do that? Because it's like, okay,
you're the captain of the ship.
You know what? I'll try. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try this for y'all. It'll be the first time ever. We're already here on a blank screen because I'm gonna try that. But all right, MetaMask, then Mochaverse. Your wish is my command. You see,
what just happened? What, did we get flagged?
What's up with those little gummy bears?
All right, can I just say something real quick? I have been squarely on the defensive of people complaining that the NFT space is too childlike. I think people were kind of just like throwing that out there. I think it was a little bit until I saw this Mochaverse video. That looks like it should be on YouTube Kids. That looks like it should be on YouTube Kids.
Creepy Nickelodeon style. I don't know. Yeah. Not a fan of it. Three-eyed little monsters.
Yeah, I'm not pulled in by that because, to your point, am I the target audience? It feels like that's going after little kids. And we should pull up and look. Can we pull up the Mochaverse NFTs?
They were there. They were there. Well, I did have a MetaMask segment that I was actually working my way into, but we could totally transition.
We're going to talk about meta. Yeah. Here. I got it. I just wanted to, since we're trailer maxis, I was trying to do the trailers, but look, like these are just like, I mean, I don't know, man. As much as we're fans of like Animoca, Yacht, and what they're doing, like, I don't know. Like, I guess there's something artistic and like.
Do we know who the artist is? Did they highlight the artist in any particular way, or is the reason they chose this style? Like, I mean, those things are like stuff that I think in the NFT world we'd like to know, right? Like,
yeah, I agree
what the
with
thought
that.
process was about it too. I mean,
but these are just almost uncomfortable to me, and yeah, that animation on top of it with like the sound effects made me feel like it's for kindergartners. So, yeah. Like the little Rubik's Cube shit. Like I'm not drawn into this. I don't want to collect Rubik's Cubes.
You clearly weren't a Rubik's Cube player.
Just whatever this is.
The grimace in the background.
They do have. Yeah. Okay, grimace is the coolest part of this. All right, I might be in. I might be back in.
Okay, back now.
All right, there you go.
Now that we've got the Mochaverse FUD out of the way, Yacht's going to be coming down on us pretty hard here. I expect
Oh,
a
no.
DM shortly. No. All right. MetaMask, in that video that you did see before the Mochaverse one, MetaMask is Snap's open beta, the first step towards our journey to create a fully permissionless ecosystem with MetaMask. So essentially what's happening here is MetaMask is transforming from just having kind of their product and what they offer to allowing essentially other Chrome extensions, what you could say, into the app themselves. They've kind of white gloved the first applications that are going to be allowed into the app tooling. But I'm interested in y'all's thoughts here. We can kind of break down what's happening in MetaMask. I think it's a pretty good update.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's a long time coming too, right? And I think it's definitely like you see them ship something like this. I mean, the first thing that I thought was like, it's about time, but it's also like you've got some hefty competition, nipping at your heels at the moment. I think, just to name a few, it was like Rabbi Wallet and Rabbi Wallet and Phantom Wallet, I think, are doing like some very interesting stuff there too, where they're just trying to obviously like cover as much ground as they can, right, in this future multi-chain world where you don't want to be jumping, where you want to cause the least amount of friction as possible, right, to communicate with all these different protocols and apps coming up. Yeah, definitely a good move on MetaMask's part. Let's see what the functionality is like. I'm gonna wait for other people to go before me and report back.
If you want to click through to the website, Q, you can actually see the one. So scroll down just a little bit, keep going.
I'll find
test the open beta. Yeah, because you can actually pull up and see the snaps. Yeah. Actually, I have it right here. Sorry, I have it.
I got it.
There it is. Yeah, so here's all the ones that are already in here. So you can see, actually, if you scroll down too, there's a Tezos one. I'm actually excited about that. Scroll up just a little bit. Right there, Tezos wallet is now integrated into MetaMask. That's very exciting. We were highlighting Wallet Guard today because we were talking about security. A lot of people were kind of giving them recommendations. So this might be one of the first ones that we probably should all install is the Wallet Guard Snap. And I was kind of confused at first about the term Snap, but I just think of it as like small apps, or like they're like mini apps or widgets that go into MetaMask now. So, and what I do think is interesting and especially powerful about this is that it's like an open source, community driven type of thing. They apparently do audit them. This is important. So it's not like any sort of app or snap can be deployed here without being checked. There is auditing that's going into these to make sure that they're at least as safe and up to date as possible. So I think it's important to know that. But I think that this is, as far as interoperability goes, a new superpower that they've unlocked. Because again, like the Tezos Snap, the Tezos DApp, there, mini DApp, whatever, that was developed by the Tezos community. They created that, and now Tezos can integrate interoperably into MetaMask. And this is I think going to add a lot of tentacles for MetaMask.
Yeah, it's a long time coming.
Do you think you're going to use this? Like, do you think you're going to integrate like your wallets, your holdings, or your seed phrases into this? I'm not sure how it works as of yet. I just know that it's really, all of us here have been in the space for a while, so we know and have everything siloed separately, right? Like we have our Tezos in our Tezos wallet, you have your Cosmos in your Cosmos wallet, whatever, and you interact accordingly. And yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but at least it's siloed. You don't get any cross contamination. That's my main concern here, is where I'm like, okay, I'll eventually go into the literature and wait for other people to use it a little bit more. But once you start venturing into this, I mean, in one way or another, sometimes it can involve bridging or opening, access into other stuff of yours that you may not want. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I think it's cool, like, especially for newcomers that just want to like dabble or start learning about the space. It's a great way.
We are about to talk about Vitalik getting sim swapped. We've talked multiple times on ways that you can protect your funds in this space, which is not financial advice. It literally isn't. We're just telling you how to actually physically secure it. Please set up separate wallets, especially if you're going to use this feature. Because my first thought about this, I had 3 thoughts. 1, thank God MetaMask is actually shipping shit now. 2, oh God, MetaMask Snaps is a biometric facial snap feature, so they're going to go towards KYC. 3, oh shit, that's not
It's not
actually what
that.
they're doing. It's I know it's not that. And MetaMask Snaps actually introduces a lot of other points of failure, right? You don't want to have this situation where you can connect to an app that they, of course, audited and did all this stuff. And then you see that app that was introduced into MetaMask that you then use led to some type of hack or led to some type of different thing that's going to lead to you losing your funds. I know that's a wet blanket approach. My hate of MetaMask and their development has been well documented. I use the app, so I understand how ironic that is. But yeah, that's where my mind went was, shit, this is going to be, you need to make sure, like Biggie has said, like Gifted has sat up here and said, use separate wallets. This even makes it more important that you have a hot wallet that is using this stuff and a cold wallet that is not attached to MetaMask Snaps. That is very important, man.
100%.
This Gift has working out. He's got his cold wallet right next to us. Nice, dude.
Well, if you don't have one of these already, that's security hygiene for crypto 101.
The equivalent of a virtual condom, right? Crypto condom.
Yeah. Marty McFly saying that stuff's for kindergartners, but you play games sweeping poop. To be honest, no, I don't. That's the problem. It's not fun enough. It's not interesting enough for me. That's why I haven't been playing Forge. But also, Marty,
IP is not built like that.
Yeah, these are bold words coming from the guy who rocks a sweater that looks like it's from an elementary school art teacher. So we'll just if you want to put yourself out there. And Jeffrey is dope. Agreed. Jeffrey the giraffe, man, just looks better and better all the time.
But Jessica says, my life is a point of failure. Bring it on, MetaMask. Sometimes I feel that. All right. Sometimes I feel that. All right. Taking a look at the market real quick. We do see some red here today on the 7-day as well as the 24 hours. It looks like Nakamigos is still holding the mantle of the most volatile NFT asset over the last 6 months. It is up 21% on the day. Others that stand out, Chex VV, it looks like, is up 38%. Some are down a bunch.
I saw Merge was actually getting a little bit of volume. It wasn't a lot, but it was like 50 to 100 sales or something on Merge. So it wasn't enough to get me super excited, but I was a little bit excited that I saw some Merge volume happening.
Just a little tad excited there.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Even a little excitement can help in this market. All right, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're doing what they're doing. It looks like they bounced a little bit off some better macro news. I didn't bring up the fact that FTX actually has a ton of tokens that are looking to be dumped to repay holders.
Yeah.
That is a significant
over 3 billion.
Yeah, there's
Solana especially, right? Like I think they said it's like 11% of the market cap.
Yes, and those are going to be.
If you're bullish on Solana, this is going to be a great opportunity to probably load up.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to see some negative sentiment here, but it is locked until 2024 or 25. So there is that. But regardless of the broader market, the reason I bring up a little bit of the NFT floor prices because Miladys is down fairly bad here over the last 7 days, 20% almost, 10% on the day. And that is because they were hit with the dual announcement that one of their founders is actually part of Palantir Tech and was kind of doxxed here in this court of Nevada, this district court of Nevada, that's saying the man is Krishna Okindiar, an individual at Remelia Corporation. And that person was officially doxxed and works at Palantir. And then also that another developer on the team actually embezzled $1 million from the treasury and seized the Coinbase. So these stories are obviously related. But yeah, ladies.
Fucking what a surprise, right? What a surprise. I am baffled by this fucking news. Damn, dude. We've been saying it in this channel for the longest time, you know, like play stupid games with stupid people, win stupid fucking prizes. And like Miladys, he's as dumb as it fucking gets. I mean, if you want to hear about like the shadiest shit, I don't care if it's got fucking people that are financially savvy and you don't need to own one to fucking, you know, learn from them online or whatever. Like
that was the narrative
project I have never wanted to touch. I don't ever want to touch with a 10-foot fucking pole. I mean, give me a million Azukis before that. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, thoughts on
I can't, dude. I'm feeling some heat from right down here. I don't know if I can follow that. I was never a fan. To Biggie's point, we've talked about like we've had a lot of questions and concerns about them, but also there's been a lot of interest and intrigue there as well, because they did manage to capture some kind of counterculture narrative. And then Elon Musk, you know, even was tweeting about them. So we've been following them for a while, but none of us really bought into that narrative. And we all had a lot of question marks around it. And I think part of what's the irony and is so funny to me is thinking about this. Who are the people actually behind this that have created this narrative around this counterculture, you know,
when you say counterculture GIF, what are you referring to? Because like, are you talking like the Epstein vibes that this fucking thing gives out?
Shady vibes.
Like that's the counterculture.
Yes.
I think that it is. I think that is part of it, but I think that they tried to like pivot that, you know, from the sort of really edgelord, cringy, scary, darker stuff into just this more of like we're the anti-establishment, the new crypto punks, the counterculture. That's what I heard from people that were more closely linked to this community of like, why are people so into it? Why do people want to be part of this? Why is it pumping, etc. Is that they were getting that narrative going and people were really buying into it. And then the irony, though, to find out that the people behind this are like the most corporate, like actually fed, like Palantir is heavily associated with like the US government contracts and shit. Like, not saying that the founder literally works directly for the government, but might actually be associated with like government contracts and shit like that. But these are legitimately like Palantir is headquartered, I think in Palo Alto, in Silicon Valley, the heart of Silicon Valley. Like, these are the Patagonia wearing, Birkenstock wearing, like hyper corporate VC nerds that are literally working hand in hand with the government on different types of contracts. And so the fact that these are the people that have basically conned all these idiot degens into thinking that they're like the edgelord, you know, counterculture is such a joke to me. That's the biggest irony here. That like if you thought that Miladys was like some brilliant subversive countercultural movement, like you just got duped by some dude in wearing fucking Birkenstocks in the Palantir headquarters in Palo Alto.
Yeah. So again, this is like an ongoing investigation. Obviously, the Palantir piece is like what everybody's focusing in on, other than the direct FUD that there's a dev embezzling $1 million from the team. What this reminds me of is art gobblers, because we're sitting here having kind of the same conversation. We're like, this just kind of sprung out of nowhere. It ran all the way to whatever it ran to. And what ended up happening is Paradigm was behind Gobblers. They used Justin Roiland's name, and Roiland was a part of it, I believe. Like, he's not clean by any means, but the reason it got up to those levels was because the price was artificially manipulated, more so than other projects. Like, this happens a lot in the crypto industry, like market making and artificially inflating prices to get people to drive volume into the project. Like, all of that happens. But art gobblers and Miladys feel like the most obvious examples of this getting out of fucking whack and out of control.
Well, Friendtech, I think, is now in that same vein, right? I don't know, man. You can't separate art gobblers from friend tech in my mind. But yeah, shout out Kilowaka. We see you. Yes, we are live right now. Thanks for hopping in here, and yeah, get crazy over there in the comments if you want. We will do our best to
around any Miladys owners.
Yeah.
All right, so Miladys has fallen off a cliff since then. I don't even want to ask what y'all would pick it up at if it fell to like 0.5 ETH. It sounds like Biggie wouldn't even take
negative 100 ETH.
I'm gonna buy one and send
it. That's fucking dirty water. No, thank you, man. I don't want
dirty water.
I don't want that in my fucking wallet. Thank you.
All right. So GIF, you would
seriously. If you are able to like eventually look at people's like holdings on like their fucking vests, like fucking merit patches or whatever, you see a Milady holder.
I don't.
Like, you really want to have a conversation with that motherfucker?
So
like, I'm not too interested.
So that's actually the thing why I'm not convinced either that I want to get into it yet, is because I still have not met IRL like or online. I know one person who was like pretty closely
There's very
linked.
prominent Milady holders. I mean, Sergito owns one, for example, and I mean, I know he's a stand-up guy or whatever, and he's playing the meta. But I mean, Jesus, like that. I mean, that's like a blemish. I don't know.
Well, so what I'm saying is that like I have not had a conversation with somebody who's in that community yet that made me feel like this is definitely something that I want to be part of yet. So until I meet somebody in that community who can convince me that like this is actually like a really cool thing, like I kind of want to stay away from it because there's too many other concerns I have. So yeah, I'm not looking to buy it as it drops right now. I have been intrigued by what they've accomplished to do. And so there is a world where I might want to get into it if the right other people that I actually like want. To your point, Biggie, if there are people in the community that I really want to associate with, maybe I'll consider it. I just haven't met those people. And most of the people that I think are associated
I
with
would say, what else are you holding? And then I would go buy that. I would not buy a fucking Milady. You know, I'm sure they don't just own a Milady. I'll be like, oh, interesting, weird. But what else do you got? Oh, crypto dick butts? Maybe I buy that. You know?
All right. I love the commentary here and over in our chat. Probably just saying hot dog water. Biggie ain't messing with that heavy. Just in case he's saying not so fast as a holder and is legit, in my opinion. I need to make sure we're getting that name right. I can't even say it on X. Writing from another account here. LFG going to be watching more regularly. I appreciate it. Before I go on, I want to make sure I get your name right the first time. And Marty McFly is saying, and Yuga is not hyper corporate.
There's a difference here.
We don't need it.
Marty is the master of straw man arguments and baiting people into these straw man arguments.
And
like
yet
there's no.
He's like
they're just not even close to the same thing. So I'm not gonna buy it too hard on that one right now.
Okay, Alan Henna is a Milady's holder, so that was being thrown out by Quantum Variant. Guys, we are about to wrap up the show. We have about 8 more minutes left. I have to hold us under an hour and 25 minutes. I'm literally, if we're going and one of these guys is talking, I'm literally ending the stream to make sure that we stay.
I thought we were off the rails, Q. We were already off. We started off the rails.
I'm trying to build this plane while we fly it, so we'll see how we go. Yeah. Guys, thank you for tuning in today. Biggie Poppins, Gift Dad, Nifty Q. We're bringing you the NFT and Web3 news every single day, man. 1 p.m. Eastern on the Web3 network. We host a Spaces over there on the Web3 X as well. We can drop that in the chat. And we also have another product Rehash that we've been working on where we put in very newsletter-esque fashion, we put all of the news that we've been curating, all the important things you need to know about what's happening in the space, and we drop that on X as well. I can drop that link if you guys can support it. But I do want to get to our last topic of the day, and that was that our Jesus, Ethereum Jesus, ETH Jesus, Vitalik Buterin got Sim Swap attacked. And apparently, folks lost about 700,000 because immediately the people that are sim swapping, they go directly into, hey, there's a sale. And the other people are on the other end saying, oh, my God, Vitalik Buterin's doing a sale for the first time ever. My God, this can't be fake. This has to be real. So I have to run and attach my cold wallet to it, and everything gets drained. So we're going to dive into the details. Interested in y'all's thoughts in the comments. Also up here, Gift at Biggie. What's up?
Look, it seems like what we've now come to find out about this is that somebody, whoever this, I think Big, you called them a clever MFer or something. The person that perpetrated this apparently worked with his cell provider to socially engineer them into giving him the personal info that he needed, or to basically use the personal info that he already had about Vitalik to convince them to orchestrate a SIM swap. A SIM swap is where your mobile phone coverage, your data, is basically controlled through a card, and you can swap it from one card to another. And so there's different ways that can happen, but usually it has to be done through the mobile carrier directly. So what happened is basically somebody worked with the mobile carrier to steal or move Vitalik's information, his mobile coverage, to a new SIM. And then why does all of this matter? Why is that such a harmful attack vector to have your SIM swapped? Is because, well, so much of our personal info is done through our phones, and so much of our social media, bank accounts, and all of that is linked directly to our phone numbers. So really, one of the most important things that I'm coming out of this is that our mobile phones are the ultimate attack vector, because so much of our personal data and access is all done through our mobile phones. And so what we did on GM Web3 this morning, by the way, it's all recorded. You can go listen to this morning's recording on X, the Bird app. We talked about what are the different possibilities and ways to protect yourself a little bit better, be more careful, and hopefully avoid getting SIM swapped or being part of these scams. There are different things that you can do. I don't think we want to do a whole rehash again. I recommend going and listening to this episode, the first hour or so. I think we do a pretty solid job of covering SIM swaps on there as best we could, and had some smart people participating. But one thing that a lot of people are doing right now is they're removing their phone numbers from X, from the app, if you have it associated. But a caveat to that is that you will want to remove and turn off 2FA, two-factor authentication, before you do that. Because if you don't, and you remove your phone number and you have 2FA associated to your phone number, you might just lock yourself out of your own Twitter. So if you're going to remove your phone number from your X app to try and be more secure on X, make sure that you turn off 2FA first before you do that. There you go. There's some of the things that we covered on GM Web3. I want to do it all.
My mind is fucking warped of the crossover of individual that would own multiple punks and be the one that gets exploited, or human engineered hack here. This luckytimes.eth warning, I just lost a few punks, don't interact. How does that exist in a single person? Dude, plebs get wrecked a good amount of times, but
well, it's the same exact cognitive dissonance or disconnect with thinking that Vitalik would be somebody that could also be SIM swapped, right? Because we do look at Vitalik as the Jesus of Ethereum. Clearly, he's some kind of techno god to most of us plebes out here, and so you don't expect people like Vitalik to also be so so accessible.
I think we're all susceptible at some point, right? That's what they're counting on always. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep that day, or you were in a rush and you didn't check everything correctly. That's why I always advise people, when it comes to dealing with your vault and your most valuable assets, put up a lot of friction in between you and that, so that you have plenty of time to think. Do not make it so easy that you can just sign a transaction or do something. Obviously, using a multi-sig is a good good use case for this stuff, but also just don't have everything on hand, and commit to that whatever goes into that vault is not something that is to be transacted with lightly, right? And even then, I guess to a couple of the comments that were made in the Web3 show and here is I would add a couple of things. One of them is like, yes, have multiple emails, but like, please don't make them all Gmail. Like, look for like a good, secure email provider. Proton is great. There's another one that's like Web3 enabled that that I really like, and they're always building and shipping stuff. It's called Skiff, double F with a K, Skiff. And then another thing that I always do, like adding a buffer to that, is that I never use the same email to sign up for any account. There's a service called Simple Login, which is it was recently bought by Proton Mail, but it's fantastic. Basically, it lets you add like a unique email to anything that you ever sign up for. And it's great because basically if you sign up, let's say, like recently I'm looking to lease cars, right? And every fucking person wants to ask me for an email. And I don't want to give them my email because I know they sell that shit and then I'm going to get swamped with more crap. So I give them a unique, simple login email that is just designed for them. And the minute I'm done with dealing with them, I shut it off so they can't email me anymore. And it's very long, hard, like crazy strings like of an email. It looks a little funky, but I like that, because it doesn't attract interest, because no service that I use has the same email. Every single one is different. So that's a really good one that I would highly recommend. And then obviously we've talked about YubiKeys, not just two-factor authentication, especially when you're talking about your Google accounts. And then the other one is like, I know people, and I myself am guilty of this, is that sometimes you do want to use either two-factor authentication is not available by using an app, like you have to use a phone, right? Or you just want to use a phone because it's not so sensitive to you. Even for that, do not use your fucking regular phone. What you can do, which is something that I do, is I have multiple Gmail accounts, as I'm sure many of you do, and I use another one of those email accounts, and I'll take out a Google Voice number. It's super inexpensive. It's like stupid inexpensive. You can choose any freaking area code you want, and you just use that number for all this type of crap. And you just get your SMSs there, you verify it, you can get it in your phone, you can install the Google Voice app, and it's great, but it's not your primary cell phone. It has nothing to do with anything. Burner. And it's also tied down through 2FA with your Google, right?
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like a lot and it's crappy. I think the best, for when I started like my journey of trying to secure my shit, it could feel overwhelming, and there's so many little tidbits, but you just start by applying one and another and another, and eventually you build up a really good fortress. And I'm not saying that it's 100% proof, right? But again, like, treat it like a game, I suppose, but just try to obfuscate your shit as much as possible. And that's also goes for like your wallets, right? Like if you're using like an ENS domain that is the same thing as your Twitter handle, well, shit, like you're just making yourself an easier target, easier to track. Why would you do that, right? Unless you're like looking to flex or whatever. Those are some simple tips that I can add to what we were talking about before.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of great stuff Biggie just threw in. And what we were showing, this is Wallet Guard, and then we were showing YubiKey. I'll pull this up again real quick. So these are YubiKeys, which are basically like kind of like cold storage for your social media info. So there you go. There's two tools. And we did mention again that Wallet Guard actually has one of those snaps in the MetaMask app now that might be worth checking out.
And one more, for example, is like for the 2FA. I know you guys talked about Authy and then the Google Authenticator. One of the first things that I stumbled on real quick was like, don't use Google Authenticator, right? Because if your email gets hacked, then they'll have access to your authenticator. Use Authy. Use like again,
third
very
party
same principle
separate,
with the wallets, right? It's like keep shit siloed, separate. So, it's tedious, it's painful, but so it's the same thing for those motherfuckers too. It's not going to be as simple.
I hope this definitely makes you, if you're at home and you haven't done any of this to protect yourself, I hope this kind of prompts you to take some action, because a lot of the security stuff is in the same light that I'm dealing with now. I had a credit card issue, a debit card issue last night. It's not something that you care about until it happens. You don't really care about home defense until you get broken into. Like unless you have these people that are telling you, hey, you need to take care of this now, or at least very soon, because what you don't want to happen is for you to be kind of left out to dry, because there's not a lot of people that are going to help you in that scenario. You have to take charge of it yourself. I just had that debit card situation happen yesterday. I got 46 charges all in a row over an hour's period. I didn't lose my debit card. I don't know how it happened. I'm trying to go through the fraud case now, but guess who was not helpful at all, other than my bank was helpful-ish. The place that it happened at was not helpful at all. Nobody cares, and you need to make sure that you're taking care of you, is basically the harsh reality that you get placed in these scenarios. Is, oh shit, these people aren't going to help me out. It doesn't behoove them to do all these things, and you have to take care of yourself when it comes to the security. So do it now and don't have to deal with us coming back later and saying, hey, you should have done this.
That was well said, but also I noticed you got a behoove in there. Good on you.
Thanks, Giff. Appreciate it. Always cutting me down to size. I appreciate you keeping me humble.
It's always impressive when you can actually immaculately throw a behoove into a sentence or a paragraph like that. I love it.
All right, folks, we have to get the heck out of here. I'm going to drop the web. I don't know if you're here and you haven't followed Web3 on X. That is an interesting case right there, because we've been talking about it for a long time here. That's literally the network we're sitting on. But definitely leave a like before you leave. It helps us kind of get the word out about this network as we look to grow it. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're live, if you're listening to us afterwards on all the different platforms, we do appreciate you very much. Our vibe, our tribe. I'll let these guys go a round one time. We'll be back tomorrow. So Biggie, Giff, let's go Biggie first.
I love you, family. As usual, be safe out there. Just, play the games that you love. Don't let yourself be pulled into fucking shiny object syndrome and FOMOs and crazy stuff. We're still early innings. You're in the space. We've got an awesome community. Just, stick to your thing and love you. See you soon. VOT.
Yeah, big love to all of y'all. If you do take any action to increase your wallet security or your security hygiene, we'd love to know. We want to get the feedback loop going with y'all more, and that engagement is so key to helping us keep doing a better job. So let us know, was this helpful? Are you doing anything to your security to get stronger? Are you testing out the MetaMask Snaps? What's good with those? We want to know. So in the comments here or over on the X app, let us know what you thought. And with that, the rehash will be coming in just an hour or two. We got it all. Check that out. Give it a like.
Get your hot sauce out.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.